Welcome back to tell us the wheel back in again then for Marques. We're underway, green flag at the end of the straight. I apologise immediately for my slightly croaky overtaken the 46 grandstands. When you walk the track, it's hundreds of yards worth of 46 and the yellow of Valentino Rossi, obviously, this man.
Valentino heading out on track with his original bodywork that he homologated on day one of the season. We know that he's the only one on the grid who is actually already
off the track, because you know what he's like on the opening lap. Even here, when it's slippery, he's all over the curbs, he's all over everything. So I'm joking, of course, folks. It's a problem. There is Jorge Lorenzo. He always is. Don't forget, we're looking as well with the skyline and the differing weather that we're getting here, whether Jack Miller, I mean, there's a man that will have a smile on.
Surefire bet to be in that battle at the front.
Aha! Out he goes then, Marques. It's an unusual traditional bump start. He must have stalled it on the way out. What's that? It's a radio social platforms, of course, you can keep a look at. Him completely missing a motocross jump. Yeah. Like the landing ramp. He hit the up ramp a bit too hard and he missed the landing ramp.
You can really do some damage. Riders have broken bones from flat-landing motorbikes before, but obviously that's tested the shoulder, and Mark's happy enough with it after...
Wheel, isn't it, with the thing spinning as well in the air. So they clean the air up. It slides along the bottom of the fairing and the lower area of the main bodywork of the bike. Now you're the technical man around here to some extent, but anything that's for me, this is the clever bit. The fact that they've got a secondary, okay, they say
under the load of the springs. So that little bit of downforce, okay, they've said it's like 3 or 4 newtons, 300 grams at 180 kilometers an hour. But the thing about them, so that's, you know, over half a kilo of downforce at 250 kilometers per hour. And let's imagine the end of the Mugello's.
Technical from my point of view, but the point being is that right when you need it the most, it's there at the most, and right when you don't want it, perhaps when it's causing you some aggravation, Ducati are trying to stress as their primary reason for it being there. Exactly. Very interesting.
That. So Massimo Rivola from Aprilia, he's still ruled with,
which is obviously why we've got this rumour at the moment that other manufacturers have put in a request for a similar thing, but under air.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and one that Ducati seem to have done their homework on. They're angry because they spent money, time, and resources.
With the suction you're getting out of these big fat tyres and the aero behind these bikes, it just sucks all that dust and dirt out of every crevice and throws it all over. You get shot plus.
They wanted to define clearly the rules now to stop it. You know, that runaway train that could happen.
The amusing thing for me is that Gigi Dall'Igna, I think they're establishing where the limits are, where they're going to be able to go to, and whether they're going to be prepared to go with that or not. When Danny Aldridge doesn't confirm and deny, anybody that doesn't... Here's your number 12, Maverick Vinales. Now then, there's a man who failed, in my case, in my thoughts, when it came to Qatar. Look,
Yamaha, he wasn't able to make those passes, so the Yamaha, we know it needs to kind of run a more flowing line, so you've got to keep that corner speed up. It was here just a little bit of a dip, undulation, and we've seen a lot of crashes in the rain in the past, so you can see the bike gets a little bit on this close.
Hello, Carol. Just there as well. That's a lot tighter than it actually looks when you go around there and take a look at that. This is a wide old track, but at that point is a real pinch point.
On the ground, and that's where he's very good. That's his dirt track and his ability to push that front tyre. I was talking to Cal Crutchlow about it, and he was saying, you look at the data and you just do not believe.
It is on Sunday, 6:30 p.m. on BT Sport 2 HD. You can join us for all of those and everything else. Live and uninterrupted. That's the brave Dovi, and Ducati's strategy, though, just had the better of it. This man, nothing but impressed with Fabio Quartararo. He rode that speed up so well last year in the latter part of the season, I've got to say.
Experience in there with Wilco Zeelenberg leading that team, Johan Stigefeld as the team principal, and then in his side of the garage you've got Diego Jubel, and so
who's come across from the factory Yamaha boys from Vinales' side of this man's garage. It's a great team. They've really, considering how quickly they...
I think it's going to... Okay, we know it took Jorge time to find his feet with Ducati, but when I watched him, I was down in Jerez at the second test, last November when he jumped on the bike and nominal on the Honda, but I spoke to Cal about it, and he doesn't feel that it's going to work for Jorge. He thinks that just the aggressiveness needed to raid the Honda and get the bike.
Was it? And he quite often made it work well for him as well, so you're right. I think that... he showed himself to be a tough guy again. Meanwhile, Joan Mir then with that wonderfully split exhaust now this year on the Suzuki.
The better top speed with that. But Suzuki, as you say, it is an improved package this year. Alex Rins has said he doesn't feel there's any weak areas anymore, so he's not worried about that top speed disadvantage.
Blow to Pramac. And we'll see slowly but surely the livery on this team is changing, and the Alma stickers are coming away from the bike.
Finances in place to replace that money that they're going to lose.
The other thing that's spectacularly great about, I mean, Jack Miller, he's got a fair New Zealand following, a quality, classy nod towards the tragedy in New Zealand. Alicia Spargo on the Aprilia.
Eloquently good English and a nice guy, so he was quite firm. You know, he took his stance, and I was surprised.
Represented, and only unanimous decisions. That means all the manufacturers agreeing, of course. Will something be allowed? I think it's done and dusted now. So quite a lot going on when you think about it this week. What with the shenanigans going on at
yesterday, he just said that there was that speculation that okay, they're going to remove the part, you know, deem it illegal, but the results will stand. But as you say,
complicated, I suppose, and that's where Ducati scored the big hit, because they designated it as the primary use was to cool a tyre, which was also allowed within the rules.
So Jack Miller up to second place, a 10th off Marques. That's a pretty impressive start for him, but the surprise, like you spoke about earlier, it's pulling uphill onto that back straight, but through that turn 3-4, it's you're coming on there in third gear, so a bit more momentum, less about that pace. So starting to find his feet with the KTM. The bike just hasn't been quite coming to him throughout testing in round one, and you know, with what we've seen from Zarco in the past on the Yamaha, we expect
he's out. Nakagami's come to the shoulder of Rossi now on the timesheet, but a 39.8. If you look at the sheet, if I can find the right one, shoulders above, 0.295 quicker than Miller, who came to his second position. It looks like Marques is about to kick it out the park as well.